What's up, y'all? I'm Jay Ryan. I'm your host today for A Journey to Fulfillment, and I have a special guest today. My special guest is James Eichelberger. James, how are you today,
I'm good, man.
Good. Glad to have you. So, James, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, what you do.
All right, well, of course, like you said, I'm James Eichelberger, born and raised in Flint, Michigan. Father, husband, man of God, worshiper, all that good stuff. I'm in the United States Navy. Been in 17 years. I love my job, and I'm a positive dude that just want to, see people change and try to have an impact on people's lives. That's it.
That's good, James. So you said you're in the Navy for 17 years. So what is it that you do in the Navy?
I'm a culinary specialist, chef by trade, responsible for, feeding the crew, making sure that they have the strength and all that so they can do their job to fulfill the mission.
That's good, James. That's good. So what motivated you to want to be in the Navy? Like, what caused you? What gave you the drive to join?
Well, initially, I said I'd never join. I was that guy. Said I'd never do that, never be in the military for any reason. But one day I woke up and said, hey, it's time to change your life, do something different. I looked at my brother. He had cancer at the time, struggling to breathe. And I knew that I had two jobs. I was working two jobs, spending my money, and then going to my daddy, spending his money.
Right.
And then I looked at my brother one day, and he was like wheezing. And I was like, man, the money I'm using or taking from my dad once my money's gone could go to him. You know what I mean? So I made a decision to enlist. So I went to the Air Force first. They kind of stood me up. So then I went to the Navy. I did talk to all the branches, but those were my 1 and 2. My dad was prior Air Force. So I kind of wanted to do the legacy thing there, but that didn't work out. They stood me up, so I decided to go into the Navy. And here I am 17 years later. My goal was to do the 4 years and get out, but I loved it once I got in. So got to travel the world, all the good stuff. So here I am 17 years later, close to retirement, almost done.
That's good. That's good. So you said that you were trying to struggle kind of to find who you were. So while you were doing that, what were the obstacles that you faced before you made that decision to say, you know what, I need to turn my life over? I know you mentioned your brother, but I know that there must have been some things mentally and maybe, that you were dealing with,
So the biggest thing is, growing up, I was a clown. Like, I like to have fun. Still to this day, I like to have fun, enjoy myself. But I never took anything serious. Nothing. School, nothing was serious for me. And then I just got to the point, at that moment, it's almost like it clicked. Maturity had to take place. So I made a decision that day, regardless of how I felt or what I'm used to doing, it's time for a change. Make that change, go into the Navy. I see that it had all these different benefits and many ways that it could help me and give me the discipline I needed. So I just dived in, took a step of faith, really. That's really what it was. I mean, nothing really pushed it other than, growing up, the neighborhood that we had grew up in when we were younger. You see little different things and all that kind of molded it. And then the people I were hanging with at school and all that stuff, you look at them and say, okay, hey, they not going down the right path.
Right.
I might get caught up. Nah, let me go ahead and do this. The crazy thing about it is I was in church the whole time too.
Wow.
So here I am dealing with these people, hanging with these cats at school, but in church at night or all the other times. So it's just a matter of, it's just a decision-making process. I decided that day that my life was going to change, and I committed to something bigger than me.
That's good. That's good. So before we get further into that, what was it in school that caused you not to focus? Like, was it your friends? Was it stuff at home? Was it just because you just didn't feel like doing anything? What was it?
It was a combination of things. I think the biggest thing was I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Right. Well, I guess that's what we all
I mean, and that's really what it is. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't take it serious. My freshman year, I did very well, so it came easy. But after that,
wow,
I was just there.
I understand.
I was just there. I had parents that drove me to be excellent in all things, but even then, That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you desire or what you want.
Right.
And then you don't realize the impact until later. So here we are in high school. I'm clowning in class, doing whatever I want to do, and my grades are affected. So now it's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do?
Right.
What are you gonna do? Luckily, I did still have a decent GPA to where I was offered some money to go to school.
That's good.
But I did a year of college, and then after that, I was like, hey, I got to get out of here and got to do something else.
That's good. So you mentioned that you had to take a leap of faith. So when did you decide you wanted to turn your life over to God, and how has that been since?
Oh, I've always had a relationship with God. It was just the relationship, in many instances, took the back seat. So when I really got focused was when I went away. Before then, I was just a guy everybody knew in the city, whatever. I was kind of popular, if you will, on the music scene, local music scene. People knew me for choir directing and singing and stuff like that. But I didn't really get serious. I knew how to play church. I knew how to get a rise out of the people. I knew what to sing, how to sing it, to get a reaction from the crowd. All the while, my relationship with God wasn't as strong as it could have been. I knew who he was. I knew all about him, but I wasn't actually interacting with him and having that time, setting time aside to be in the Word. I treated it kind of like the school.
Wow.
And I kind of like, okay, well, hey, he's there. He's God. He's supposed to do this. I'm expecting him to do that.
Right.
He's going to do it.
Right.
So very little needed on my part. So now here I am in the Navy, away from everything that I was comfortable with, away from family, away from friends, out of my comfort zone, and now I'm stuck. Not really stuck, but I'm in a situation where I'm forced to either depend on myself or depend on somebody else. And that somebody else was God. So I gravitated to that because that was the only thing I knew. So start getting in the Word, spending time with God, and it helped me sustain and make it through everything that.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man. I believe that as well. I think that there are things that you have to change in order for your life to go forward in allowing God to move in you. So I also want to know, in the Navy, what were your challenges, because you had to change your environment, you had to change what it was that you were doing in order for you to move forward in your success. So in the Navy, what were your obstacles in, living for God and being around people who may not know God? What was that like?
I mean, it's a challenge. The biggest difficulty is being a part of an organization to where, this is my personal opinion, where religion is available. The practice of your religion is available, and there's space for it, but not everybody does it.
Wow.
So where you love God, you're on fire for God, you try to prevent yourself from getting caught up in various things, and but the temptation is always there. You're exposed to a lot of things that you probably wouldn't see on a normal basis. You have the opportunity to experience things that most people would never experience in their lives. So here it is, you try to be moral, standing for God. You can still do that. In the military, it's a little more difficult because you have more distractions.
Yeah.
More distractions. And not everybody believes the way you believe. Not everybody has the mindset to be focused on religion and practicing their religious. People say, hey, I'm Baptist, I'm Catholic, but yet they don't practice any of that.
How do you show that? Right.
You see what I'm saying? So then you get caught up with that, and then when it's difficult to find people like you, you kind of get put in situations to where, okay, hey, in order for me to enjoy or have any type of fun, I have to go out with people that don't necessarily think like me or necessarily carry themselves like me. So then what do? You just volunteer to be that person that kind of looks out for everybody and kind of be the example, and you just don't compromise who you are, and that's a challenge because it's easy to be to find yourself being comfortable
Right.
by compromising. You just say, okay, hey, I'm gonna go do this because they're doing it. It's easy to do that.
Yeah.
It's a slogan that says you gotta choose the harder right over the easier wrong. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You know, but you put yourself in situations and you try to limit your exposure to the things that you don't necessarily care for. So put yourself in a box, if you will, and you focus on that. Tunnel vision, if you will.
Yeah. So in dealing with those different challenges and stuff, you know, I know that in our religion or our belief, we call them tests. So I know that there had to been some tests, you know, that you've dealt with in your walk with God and in being in the Navy around those different people that may not have believed, you know, like you believe. So what were, like, I know temptation may have been one, you know, different type of things. So what were some of those challenges and how did you overcome those?
Wow, good question. So challenges. One of the biggest challenges that I had was, you know, like I said, the company you keep, right? So you go out in town. We call it out in town. Once you get off the ship, you go out in town. In a Liberty port is what they call it. So you might be in Spain, you might be in Dubai or whatever. And you can't leave by yourself.
Right.
So you got to go with a group of people called your Liberty buddies. And they have an agenda that may not necessarily be your agenda.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest challenge, going places, finding yourself in situations where they want to go to the strip club, but you're trying to live safe. But because it's only 4 of y'all, 3 of them say we going, and they gonna drink. Now you don't drink.
Well, there it is, right?
You the sober one, but yet you have to go with them.
Right.
So you put yourself in a situation. Now you there. Now what? What do you do now? What do you do now? You have to be there.
Right.
Because the majority rules or whatever. You have 2 options. Number 1, you stay on the ship and don't do anything. Number 2, you accept the test and go with them. And see how you handle that. A lot of people might say, okay, you accepted the test because you really wanted to dabble in it yourself.
To see a little bit.
Right? But it's not that. I think my being there and not interacting the way they did spoke volumes to them.
Wow.
So the example there, hindsight. This is all hindsight. I wasn't thinking about that in the act, being there or whatever. Because literally, you could call the people. I could tag them in Facebook or whatever, and you can ask them what I did. Literally, we go in there. They at the strip club. I'm on the phone with my wife, FaceTiming, texting or whatever. Like, look, we in the strip club. This is what's going on. I'm a stand-up guy. You know, but that's what happened. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges, and that's how I dealt with the test. I took it head on and said, okay, hey, I'm going to stand for what I believe, and at the end of the day, I'll be rewarded for it.
That's good.
Even though the temptation, you see it, you like, yo, like I'm here.
Right.
But like again, it goes back to whether you're willing to compromise your belief. And the way I always view things is, I would rather do what it is that I think God desires me to do now, because He is who He is.
Right.
And the consequences come with, you know, every decision. I'd rather do that now than not to do it and not wake up tomorrow or lose this next moment and now have to deal with the fact that the decisions you made now affect you eternally.
Right.
That's my thought process all day, every day. So I'd rather become all things to all men, and then, you know, secure myself, secure my seat in heaven. At least that's what I believe I'm doing. Hopefully, hopefully I'm pleasing God by the way I live and the way I walk. But if not, I'm gonna die trying. So
amen. So do you feel like you are, now that you have came home, you are, you know, working around town and stuff, do you feel as though, you know, your light is still shown today? Like in, you know, the office, there may be people, you know, that you come in contact with even now, And so, do you feel like your light still shines? And how do you feel like, what do you feel like you do to allow your light to shine?
Wow. I like to believe that the light is still on. And the way I do it is just by being intentional. I do everything for a reason. It's nothing I say or nothing I do that doesn't have, it's intentional. It's intentional. So I kind of position myself to where I can help, or I can be that example, both at work, at home, at church. I think I just position myself to be of help, and I try to not influence, but try to be an example. With the example, hopefully it influences, is what I wanted to say. But wow, I don't know how to answer that really. Other than that, hopefully I answered the question.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, definitely. So now, how is it that so you're getting ready to leave. So do you feel as though you have left something behind that people can remember you by before you, because you're leaving, you're getting ready to go on deployment again. So how is it what do you feel like you've left? Like, have you left your mark? Have you left your mark before you leave? Do you feel like you've left something in someone or a few others that you can be like, yeah, I'm glad that I was able to be an example to that person, or I'm glad that I was able to, allow my light to shine through them?
First off, let's talk about this leaving thing. That's going to be rough. But we're going to make it happen. So, for those of you listeners or watchers, viewers, however you want to call it, being in the military, your orders come, you have time that you're in a particular station. So, my time is up here in Michigan, coming very soon, and I'll be transitioning back to Virginia. So, that's the leaving he's referring to. Now, to address the question, do I believe I left something here? Yes. I think with God's help and God's influence, God's direction, I believe I've impacted a core group of people, of young people, really. I think we've, as a collective unit, have ignited something that could carry on long after we're gone. I think we've changed lives, and that's one of my things. I want to change lives daily. Come in contact with somebody and change their life. That might be an example for them. That's my prayer every day. You've been a part of the prayer calls and stuff like that. I pray. That's my prayer, that we impact somebody and that their lives will be changed forever. So, do I believe I left something? Absolutely. I believe that a major impact has been made within the city of Flint, whether it be at the various high schools, Grand Blanc, Carmen, Northwestern, Southwestern, Holly, Swartz Creek, all these high schools I go into, and I talk to the young people, talk about life, we talk about experiences, we talk about expectations, setting goals and plans. And by me doing that, I believe I've left some type of nugget or something locally to where many have something to grab on to and hold on to for the rest of the time. Hopefully it impacted their lives enough to where they changed something for the good. So, to answer your question, yes, I believe I left something. I know there's a way around it, but
that's good. That's good. So now, what is it that you believe that us as millennials, us as young men, need to change in order to get to where you are today? Spiritual-wise, success-wise, what is it that you feel needs to change with our young people, specifically our young men?
Wow. Let's not say to get where I am.
Well, I mean, you're somewhere. You're an example. You're a leader.
I get it. I get it.
This guy, man.
So, the biggest thing, everybody's journey is different. We're talking about journey fulfillment.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's journey is different. Everybody has different streets they cross. Everybody has different things on their path that they stumble over. First thing is to identify what it is that's causing you to do what it is that you're doing. And whatever, if you have your goal, let's look at the goal in its entirety and say, okay, hey, in order for me to get here, I have to do this. Establish the plan, right? Once you establish the plan, you have to identify those things that hinder you from accomplishing that goal. Then you rid yourself of those. Then it's called consistency and discipline. The times that you don't want to do it, you got to do it. Without hesitation, you have to be intentional. Have to be intentional. You write your goals down, write your plans down. Have a relationship with God. That's key. Everybody believes in something. If you keep the belief that you have in the forefront of your mind, there's nothing can stop you from accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. So my belief, and a lot of viewers probably, their belief is in God. God is going to honor your preparation. He's going to honor your time invested. But you have to take action. It said faith without works is dead. So you can believe that you can accomplish it, but if you ain't doing nothing, then it's pointless. So establish a goal. Once you establish your goal, implement a plan. Once you implement your plan, you got to be focused, disciplined, and consistent.
Thank you so much for tuning in to A Journey to Fulfillment. My special guest today was James Eichelberger. And man, I tell you, James gave us millennials some great key points to take away from today's interview. He told us to make a plan, get rid of the things that are hindering our plan, be consistent, and be disciplined. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Remember, you can catch all of my release dates, my topics, and my next special guest on my social media pages. And you can catch today's interview on my YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, I'm your host, Jay Ryan, and I'll see you soon.